Yo, Cardi B just sat down, opened a microphone, and accidentally buried her own relationship live on the timeline. The Bronx girl tried to play unbothered, but instead she dropped a number so loud it shook the whole internet and confirmed every nasty rumor the streets been whispering for months. Stefon really thought this rant was going to fly under the radar. Before we get into it, like, subscribe, don't miss it. Nah. Alright, you'll pull up a chair, lock the door, put the phone face down, because what I'm about to walk you through is one of the messiest, most self-incriminating live audio meltdowns the timeline has cooked up all year. And I don't say that lightly. We've seen Cardi go off before. We've seen the Instagram lives, the Twitter rants, the parking lot videos with the lashes still half on. But this one is different. This one is a kind of moment that's going to get clipped, screen recorded, slowed down, and replayed on every gossip podcast for the next 6 months. Did he really think she would stay quiet while the blogs did the math on his late-night calendar? Did he genuinely believe a Pro Bowl contract protects a man from a Bronx receipt dump? Pull up that chair closer, neighbors, because the match has been struck, the bridge is already ash, and Cardi just handed the internet the blueprint of the entire collapse. So, let me set the stage properly because the skeleton of this story matters before we get into the meat of it. Belcalis Almanzar, yes, Cardi B herself, the Bronx's loudest export, the Grammy-winning, chart-topping, internet-breaking phenomenon, hopped onto a Twitter audio space session this week and absolutely lit the timeline on fire. No PR statement, no carefully edited Instagram caption, no Notes app apology energy, just her, a microphone, an open audio room, and roughly several thousand neighbors listening in real time as she unraveled in front of the entire internet. And listen, when Cardi pulls up to a space personally, you already know somebody is about to lose. She doesn't do middle ground. She doesn't do diplomacy. She comes in swinging like she's defending her last paycheck. The target this time, a blogger known across the timeline as Got the Scoop. One of those accounts that's been on Stefon tag page for months. Posting receipts, posting models, posting screenshots, the whole nine. And Cardi didn't just respond to the blogger. She went all in. She dragged baby mama allegations, the now infamous Christmas situation, the $300,000 gift drop, the Super Bowl field photos, the model rumors, and the whole Stefon era. All in one breathless audio session, no source quoted, no blog post linked, no according to my publicist, just her own mouth, her own words, her own voice confirming in real time the split from the NFL star that the internet had been speculating about for weeks according to reports from people. And I want you all to really sit with that for a second because the split itself isn't even the wild part anymore. The wild part is how she confirmed it. The wild part is the energy she brought. The wild part is the fact that Stefon Diggs, a grown man, a Pro Bowl receiver, a guy who gets paid millions of dollars to read defenses, apparently did not think his girl would pull up to the microphone herself and air the entire relationship out in front of God, the FCC, and 12,000 live listeners. Stefon really sat in his house thinking, nah, she won't say nothing. Bro, you dated a woman whose whole brand is saying something. You picked the loudest woman in hip-hop, and then bet your piece on her being quiet. That's not a strategy. That's a prayer. And the prayer didn't land. Cardi B and Stefon had already been the subject of split rumors after fans noticed the two unfollowed each other on Instagram early in the year for the national depth. And a source close to the couple eventually confirmed the breakup to Entertainment Tonight. But none of that prepared the internet for the version Cardi was about to deliver herself, live, loud, and unfiltered. So here's where we are right now. The relationship is officially publicly on the record over. The blogger got the smoke. The baby mamas got mentioned. The $300,000 got dropped into the public record like a tax document. The Super Bowl model got dragged into the conversation by association. And Akbar V, yeah, we're getting to her too, just hopped on Cardi's own instrumental and turned the whole thing into a full-blown rap beef. This isn't a breakup anymore. Neighbors, this is a multi-front war. And Cardi just opened up every single front herself. Now let's open the receipts because what came out of that Spaces session is wild. And I need you all to hear every single line in context because once you connect the dots, you're going to realize this wasn't a rant. This was a confession. And Cardi didn't even know she was confessing. Okay, let me walk you all through these quotes line by line because this is where the whole story stops being gossip and starts being evidence. And I want you to pay attention to the words, not just what she said, but what she revealed without meaning to. Because Cardi, bless her heart, said way more than she thought she said. That's what happens when you go live with feelings instead of a script. On the Spaces session this week, Cardi B looked dead at the audio and said, and I'm quoting her tone here, the exact energy, the exact attitude, if he wanted them, how come he is not with them when I'm not around? When I heard that, I had to literally pause my phone, pull my AirPods out and rewind it 3 times. 3 times. Because bro, did you really just say that out loud on record with your full chest? You're telling me Cardi is now in the position of defending Stefon's calendar for him on a public stream, explaining to the world why he doesn't see his other kids when she's not around? Sis, that's not a flex. That's a confession dressed up as a clapback. You just told the internet with your own mouth that this man's parenting schedule revolves around you. That's not a win. That's the dumbest flex I've heard all month. And we're not even halfway through the month. And then without taking a breath, without reading the room, without anyone in her corner whispering, "Girl, stop talking," she pivoted straight into the Christmas situation. The Christmas situation, for those of you who somehow missed it, was a moment back in late 2025 when Cardi and Stefon spent Christmas apart, with fans openly questioning why the NFL star wasn't with Cardi and their newborn son, according to media reports. That alone was already a 5-alarm fire on the timeline. But on this Spaces session, Cardi tried to clean it up and instead she poured gasoline on it. She said basically that if a baby mama can't travel for the holidays, it is what it is, that the mama in question had her own kids, her own life, and she wasn't about to drag 3 babies across the country to somebody else's house where there's other things going on. Okay, pause. Other things going on, sis. What other things? Because the way you said that with your chest, the way that line landed, that wasn't a casual phrase. That was a Freudian slip wearing a press release. You don't say other things going on unless you know what those other things are. And the whole internet heard it. And then with absolutely zero hesitation, zero PR filter, zero adult in the room, she dropped a line that broke the entire timeline in half. She said that the very next day after the whole Christmas mess, Stefon allegedly pulled up with around $300,000 worth of gifts. $300,000 casually in gifts the day after the Christmas disrespect. Like it was lunch money. Like it was a normal Tuesday. Like every man in America just casually drops the price of a small house on his girlfriend when he messes up. Nah, sis. Nah, you don't volunteer that number 6 months later if you're not pressed. You don't drop a specific dollar amount to the 100,000 on a public stream if you're over it. That number got dropped because that number still stings. That number got dropped because somewhere deep down Cardi is still doing the math on whether $300,000 was worth the disrespect. And the math ain't matting because no Birkin, no Cartier, no diamond-encrusted apology gift in the world can patch up the feeling of spending your first Christmas as a new mom alone with your baby, while your man is across the country with somebody else. And that's the part nobody in her camp is brave enough to tell her. But she wasn't done. Oh no, neighbors. She was just getting warmed up because next she addressed the baby mama jump allegation directly. The rumor that Stefon's other baby mamas had been plotting to physically confront her while he was unavailable. She said she never did anything to any of them. Said she doesn't talk about them. Said she doesn't subliminally diss them. Cute. Real cute. Beautiful narrative. Award-winning denial. But then in the same Spaces, in the same breath, barely a minute later, she turned around and said the only reason those women got access to Stefon right now is because she's not around anymore. Excuse me, bro. You cannot say I have no problem with them and they only get him because I let him go in the same paragraph. That is not peace. That is hierarchy. That is you announcing on a public stream that you consider yourself the queen bee of Stefon Diggs' romantic life, and everyone else is just feeding off of leftovers. That's not maturity. That's a power move dressed up as grace. And the baby mamas heard it. Trust me, they heard it, every single one of them. And the response is coming. It's just a matter of time. Cardi already responded to backlash for having a baby with Stefon while he had other children on the way, telling critics on the matter, according to a social media chat thread. And her energy carried straight into this Spaces session. Except now it has names attached. And let's not forget, and this is the part that's going to haunt her, she also dropped a famous threat to the blogger directly. She said, and I quote, "For every lie you got, I got receipts. Real text messages, real videos, real crying, real tears. Okay, sis. Okay, we're waiting. Where's the folder? Where's the Google Drive? Where's the screenshot dump?" Because when I heard that line, my first thought was, that's a threat of somebody who does not have the receipts ready. If you had them, you'd have posted them. You wouldn't be announcing them. You would be leaking them. The people with real receipts don't warn you. They drop and then they walk away while the building burns. Cardi's announcement of the receipts is a tell. That's the bluff. And every gambler in the chat saw it. And then, as if this whole evening wasn't already chaotic enough, here comes the cherry on top. The plot twist nobody was ready for. Akbar V. Yes, that Akbar V hopped onto Cardi B's Pretty and Petty instrumental and dropped a freestyle that absolutely shook the timeline. And I'm paraphrasing the brutal version that's currently being looped on every TikTok for you page in America right now. But the gist of the bar was about how it feels to be the ugly baby mama who left her husband for a man who barely even wants her. Akbar V dropped a diss track using Cardi B's Pretty and Petty beat, taking aim at Cardi's appearance, personal life, and the rumors surrounding her relationship with Stefon Diggs. According to social media coverage of the freestyle, when I heard that bar land, I literally said out loud, "Oh, this is war. That ain't a shot. That's a sniper rifle from across the city." Because Akbar didn't just respond. Akbar said, "Let me use your own beat, your own production, your own instrumental and do it on top of your sound. That's not beef. That's chess. That's psychological warfare. That's the kind of move that gets studied in hip-hop history books 15 years from now." And reportedly, Cardi tried to use copyright to block it, which only made the freestyle go more viral because nothing makes the internet want to hear something more than telling them they can't. Now let's connect the dots because once you line up the timeline, the picture gets even uglier. Now let me hit you with a timeline that nobody, and I mean nobody, in the mainstream coverage is sequencing properly because the dates matter, the order matters, the gaps matter, and once you see the actual chronology laid out, you start to realize that the Spaces rant didn't happen in a vacuum. It didn't happen because Cardi randomly woke up mad on a Tuesday. It happened because of a very specific chain reaction. And once you see the chain, you can't unsee it. That Spaces rant, it dropped roughly 48 hours after a brand new wave of Got the Scoop posts surfaced about Stefon's tag page situation again. New screenshots, new angles, new names. The blogger had been quiet for a minute and then boom, back-to-back posts hit the timeline. And within 2 days, Cardi was on a microphone going scorched earth. That is not a coincidence. Neighbors, that is a trigger. That is direct cause and effect. That is a woman who saw a post she wasn't supposed to see and decided the only way to control the narrative was to detonate it herself. Now, let's talk about the $300,000 gift drop because the math on this one is wild. Stefon allegedly dropped that bag in late December 2025, right after the Christmas situation, right after fans were questioning why he wasn't with Cardi and their newborn son. This Spaces session happened months and months later. We're talking about half a year between the event and the rant. Half a year and she's still doing the receipts in real time. Listen, healed women do not relitigate Christmas in June. Healed women do not bring up December gift values in the middle of summer. 6-month-old receipts are not closure receipts. 6-month-old receipts are still hurt receipts. Stefon really thought he was going to hand her a Birkin, a Cartier set, and a stack of designer boxes and patch up the fact that he spent Christmas with what the timeline has been calling the lineup. Names like Tyler Marie and Kennedy Moore floating around in the speculation. Bro, that's a move of a man who genuinely believes money fixes everything. And to be fair, for a long time in his world it probably did. NFL money is generational money. NFL money has bought a lot of silence in this league. But Cardi Almanzar is not the kind of woman whose silence is for sale. She'll take the gifts and tell the story. That's the part Stefon never learned. The Super Bowl piece is where the calendar really starts to embarrass him. And I need you all to lock in for this part because this is a moment that in hindsight was the beginning of the end. Remember the Super Bowl field photos? Stefon Diggs was spotted with a model friend on the Super Bowl field after his appearance with Cardi, according to coverage from Reddit's pop culture community. And Page 6 even ran a piece on Cardi reflecting on Super Bowl 2026 as split speculation continued to swirl around her. Those photos went up right after Cardi was photographed with Stefon hours apart. Bro went from posing with his girl, the mother of his newborn child, to being clocked on the same field with a model. Same field, same day, same camera angles, different woman. And the kicker, the part that made the internet collectively gasp, that same model is reportedly tied to Offset's old situation. The exact category of woman that played a role in ending Cardi's previous marriage, according to social commentary. So Stefon really pulled up to the biggest sporting event of the year, with the exact category of woman that wrecked Cardi's last relationship. Bro, that's not bad luck. That's not a coincidence. That's not the photographer caught a bad moment. That's bad strategy. That's the worst possible move in the worst possible context at the worst possible time. If Stefon hired a consultant and paid him $1 million to design the most disrespectful Super Bowl photo op in history, that consultant could not have done a better job. Stefon picked the worst possible move and ran it on primetime television. And here's the relationship math nobody's adding up. Cardi B announced a pregnancy in September 2025 according to Billboard's relationship timeline, and she and Stefon welcomed their baby in November 2025. The split confirmation hit publicly around February 2026. That's 3 months. 3 months between bringing a baby into the world and announcing the relationship is over. 3 months between a man becoming a father to a megastar's child, and that megastar going scorched earth on a Twitter space. Stefon, my guy, my dude, my brother in Christ. You couldn't give her 90 more days. You couldn't ride out a single fiscal quarter being a present father before the model photos started leaking. Any smart man, any man with even half a publicist, any man who's read one chapter of a relationship book would have understood that the first 6 months postpartum are sacred. You don't test a woman's patience during the recovery window. You don't put her through public humiliation while she's still healing. But Stefon isn't playing chess. He's not even playing checkers. He is playing Connect 4 against a grandmaster and is losing on every single board. Then there's the got the scoop pattern, which is a part that nobody is really analyzing. That blogger account has been on this exact beat for months. Stefon's tag page, the Cardi XO model situation, the lookbook appearances, the furniture line photo shoots, the Super Bowl model, the Christmas math, all of it. Every single piece of the puzzle has been getting posted screenshot by screenshot, week by week, for as long as this relationship has been public. So when Cardi swung at a blogger on Spaces, she wasn't really swinging at a person. She wasn't swinging at got the scoop. She was swinging at the evidence. She was swinging at the documentation. She was swinging at the mirror. The mirror that was showing her exactly what her relationship had become. And we all know what happens when you swing at a mirror. You don't break the reflection. You just bloody your own knuckles. And then you have to explain the bandages. That's where we are right now. Cardi swung at the mirror. The mirror didn't crack. And now her hand is bleeding live on Spaces in front of 13,000 neighbors with Akbar V on the side rapping over her own beat. That's not a moment. That's a movie. And the third act hasn't even started yet. So mainstream media is going to tell you all this is just another Cardi B drama cycle. Bronx Girl gets mad. Bronx Girl goes on a rant. Bronx Girl moves on. 3-act structure, clean ending, roll credits. See you at the next one. Smooth narrative, easy clicks, algorithm friendly. Wrong story. Here's what nobody in the mainstream is willing to say out loud, because saying it out loud means losing access, losing brand deals, losing the comfortable she's just being Cardi framing that keeps the gossip economy running. So I'll say it for them. This isn't a breakup. This is a pattern. And the pattern is older than Stefon. It's older than Offset. It's older than the timeline we're sitting on right now. This is a public celebrity emotional cycle that the algorithm has been feeding on for years. And Stefon Diggs is just the latest character cast in a role that's been running for 3 full seasons. Every single relationship Cardi has publicly follows the same 5-stage arc. Stage 1, honeymoon, big posts, soft launches, vacation reels, you make me so happy captions, paparazzi shots that feel a little too coordinated. Stage 2, cracks, random unfollows, vague tweets, a missed event, a passive-aggressive Instagram story that gets deleted in 11 minutes. Stage 3, public confrontation, the rant, the live, the Spaces, the receipts, threat. Stage 4, the we're done press release. The source says they split confirmation through ET or people like clockwork. And Stage 5, the quiet reconciliation that nobody talks about that happens in the back booth of a restaurant that ends with one matching photo and a hard reset. We are sitting in Stage 4 right now. And let me tell you something. Stage 5 is a dangerous one. Stage 5 is where Cardi historically loses her own argument. Stage 5 is where the receipts she threatened never actually drop. Where the diss becomes a duet. Where the breakup becomes a we're working on it. And Stefon is banking on Stage 5. He's banking on the reconciliation. He's a puppet in a cycle he doesn't even understand. sitting there thinking the $300,000 gift drop was a strategic masterstroke when really the script is writing him. He's not the author of this story. He is a footnote in a chapter Cardi's been writing since 2017. And here's the angle the blogs won't touch. Not because they don't see it, but because saying it out loud disrupts the narrative they need to sell. The industry needs this rant. The industry was thirsting for this rant. Cardi's professional rollout has been a slow boil for months. The DMI, the drama album, hit shelves in September of 2025 according to Pitchfork, and the Little Miss Drama Tour kicked off in early 2026 per Billboard. New music has been teased. Project commitments have been promised. Tour dates are locked in. Brand deals are sitting in a queue waiting for the right cultural moment to deploy. Every single time the personal drama hijacks a news cycle, the trending algorithm pumps her name into every feed in America for 48 straight hours. Free press, free engagement, free top-of-mind awareness. So whether Cardi consciously planned it or not, and I'm not saying she did, I'm not saying she didn't, that's a question above my pay grade, her team is undeniably benefiting from this engagement spike. The math doesn't lie. Watch what drops in the next 14 days. Watch the calendar. If a new single, a surprise collaboration, a deluxe edition, a new music video, or a major brand campaign hits within 2 weeks of this Spaces session, and I bet my last dollar that something will, you'll know exactly what this was. You'll know the rant wasn't just a rant. You'll know it was a rollout disguised as a breakdown. And if Stefon is sitting in his house right now thinking he's a victim in this story, nah. He's not the victim. He's the marketing event. He's the catalyst. He's the loss leader in a campaign that's about to print money. He's playing checkers while the machine plays four-dimensional chess on a board he can't even see. And the saddest part is he probably still thinks the next gift is going to fix it. Now here's a part that's going to make people genuinely mad. And I need you all to take a breath before you read this next paragraph because it's going to sting. Akbar V's bar didn't just hit Cardi. It hit a nerve that has been raw and exposed since the Offset era. That bar, ugly baby mama left her hubby for a man that barely even won her. That line is doing open heart surgery on the one insecurity that even a megastar, even a Grammy winner, even a woman with 1 billion streams and a #1 album cannot fully armor against. The insecurity of being chosen. Think about it. Really think about it. Cardi has spent 2 consecutive relationships being the one who picks the man rather than the one who gets picked. With Offset, she chose to fight for that marriage publicly. More than once, through multiple cheating allegations, through public apologies, through we're back together announcements that the streets didn't want for her. With Stefon, she's the one who hard launched. She's the one who took the photos on the field. She's the one who flew out to his games. She's the one who got pregnant and announced a pregnancy on CBS Mornings. Stefon's whole position in this story is a position of a man who got chosen by her, and he has been disrespecting that choice with every chance he gets. Stefon is a man who fumbled a generational woman because he could not read the assignment. That's not a beef plot. That's not a tabloid headline. That's a Greek tragedy in real time. Future generations are going to study this man's choices the way film students study bad endings. He had a Hall of Fame partner, a child, a public cosign from one of the biggest entertainers alive, and he chose the Super Bowl model. Bro, the hubris on this man is biblical. Now here's a historical pattern piece. And this is where I lose half the comment section, but I'm saying it anyway because it's true. We've seen this exact playbook before. When Cardi split from Offset, she did the exact same thing she's doing now. Going out every weekend, drinks with the girls, post photos at every party, captions saying she's fine, she's healed, she's better off. Hot pics, hot looks, loud nights, 2 babies in diapers at home, and she had to be louder than the silence to bury the pain. Sound familiar? Now she's got a 3rd baby barely 7 months old, and she's reading from the exact same teleprompter. Different man, different stadium, same monologue. Stefon really thought he was unique. Stefon really thought this was a one-of-a-kind ride or die, ride the wave romance. Bro, you are not the main character. You are a recurring guest star in a show that's been on the air for 3 seasons. The fans already know the season finale before you do. Get over yourself. The truth nobody wants to say is this. Every single piece of chaos in this entire saga traces back to one source. Not Cardi, not the baby mamas, not the blogger, not Akbar, not the Super Bowl model. Stefon Diggs, the man with 1 foot in and 1 foot out for months, showering her with gifts when the heat got high, vanishing when the cameras died down, posing on the field with one woman and then a model an hour later, skipping Christmas while sending six-figure gift drops. Stefon represents the old playbook that the culture is done with. The NFL star who genuinely believes his bank account buys him out of accountability. The myth that the contract protects you from the consequences. Every single move Stefon makes from this point forward is predictable. He'll check his phone in 3 days looking for a text that's never coming. He's going to scroll Twitter looking for a mention that's never coming. He's going to refresh a page waiting for a sign. And the silence is going to eat him alive because that's what happens to men who fumble Bronx girls. They don't get a redemption arc. They get a where are they now episode, and that's a truth they won't tell you. That's a truth that doesn't fit the headline. That's a truth that ends careers. So what happens next? Where does this story go from here? I'm about to call all 3 scenarios before they hit your timeline. And I want you all to screenshot this section. Bookmark it. Save it to your camera roll because in 6 weeks when one of these plays out exactly the way I'm about to lay it out, I want full credit in the comments. Pin me, tag me, send me my flowers because the script is already written. We're just waiting for the actors to read their lines. Scenario 1, the most likely outcome. This is the scenario the math points to. The one with the highest probability, the one I'd put my own money on if Vegas was taking bets. Here's how it plays out. The timeline is going to go quiet for about 10 days, maybe 14. Cardi is going to disappear from the main feed. No lives, no spaces, no long captions. She's going to let the silence build. Let the speculation simmer. Let the algorithm hunger for content. And then boom, she's going to post a glow-up photo. Snatched waist, full lashes, bronze skin, pure spice. A caption that says everything and nothing at the same time. Something like alone never looked this good or back to me. The internet is going to lose its mind. Comments off, of course, always comments off, that's the playbook. Then within 48 hours of that glow-up post, a new piece of evidence is going to surface and it won't come from Cardi. It'll come from the streets. A burner account is going to like the wrong post. A leaked DM is going to hit Twitter. A tag photo from a club is going to appear on a gossip blog. A podcast clip is going to get chopped up and reshared. The streets always feed the streets. The streets are reliable that way. Stefon is going to try to address it through a source close to the situation. Never directly because he never speaks for himself because his publicist is more terrified of his words than his silence. And when he eventually does speak, whether it's an Instagram story or a sit-down interview, he's going to look desperate. He's going to look like a man screaming into a void because Cardi will not respond. Not at first. Not because she doesn't want to, but because her team will hold her phone hostage for 72 hours straight. Eventually, she'll respond. She has to. The algorithm will demand it. The brand deals will demand it. The drama tour will demand it. But when she does respond, watch the energy carefully. It won't be a rant this time. It'll be calculated. It'll be a single line, a meme, a laughing subtweet that says everything in 4 words. And that's the moment Stefon is going to realize what he lost. Because Stefon is about to learn the most painful lesson in modern celebrity. Silence from her hurts more than any diss track. He's going to be sitting there refreshing her page waiting for a mention that is never coming. And the absence is going to be louder than any verse on any album. Scenario 2, the alternative path. This is the nuclear option. The one that nobody wants but everybody secretly wants to see. Probability lower than scenario 1. But the consequences catastrophic. If Cardi actually drops the receipts she threatened on that Spaces session, the texts, the videos, the real crying, real tears folder, Stefon is cooked. Not in trouble. Not in hot water. Cooked. We're talking career-ending NFL image damage. Cooked. Burnt to the bone. Charred beyond recognition. Reduced to dental records. Every single brand deal he has on the books gets paused immediately. Every endorsement gets renegotiated downward. Every contract clause about conduct detrimental to the team gets pulled out and dusted off by a corporate lawyer at 9 a.m. on a Monday. Every locker room becomes awkward. Every post-game interview becomes a minefield. Every press conference becomes about her, not the game. He'll go from being the wide receiver who had a glamorous girlfriend to being the case study of how to torpedo your own image in under 12 months. When Cardi opens that vault, if she opens that vault, Stefon is not ready. He doesn't have the infrastructure for that level of warfare. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the team. We saw what Cardi did to Offset's image during their splits, and Offset is a streetwise rapper who's been navigating public scandals his entire career. Offset was built for the smoke and even he took damage. Stefon doesn't stand a chance. Stefon is an NFL receiver. His whole brand is built on being the clean-cut, focused elite athlete who shows up to games and makes plays. Take that image away and what's left? A guy with stats. And stats don't sell jerseys. If you think Stefon is prepared for that level of public smoke, you haven't been paying attention to the last 6 months. Bro is going into this matchup with no playbook, no defensive coordinator, and no quarterback. He is about to find out what happens when a Bronx girl actually swings. Instead of just talking, once she swings, she doesn't pull punches, she swings to end rounds. Scenario 3, the wild card, the industry impact. This is the long game. The 5 years from now scenario, the one that doesn't play out on TikTok next week, but plays out in the cultural archives over the next half-decade. The rumors are not going away. Period. The symmetry is just too delicious for the algorithm to let it die. Stefon allegedly entangled with models, Cardi allegedly focusing entirely on her global market dominance. Whether or not any of it is true, and I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't, that's between the journalists and their sources, the story writes its own headlines. And once a story writes its own headlines, you don't need facts to keep it alive. You just need eyeballs. And the eyeballs are never going to stop watching this saga. 5 years from now in 2031, when we look back at the arc of pop culture in this era, people are going to point to the Spaces rant as the exact moment Stefon Diggs' cultural relevance died. Not his football career. His football career might genuinely survive. He might catch another 100 passes, make another Pro Bowl, sign another big contract, but his romantic icon NFL bachelor positioning, his every woman wants him branding, his eligible playboy mystique dead on arrival. He'll be watching the culture move on from him in real time, and there's nothing he can do about it. The takes are being written, the think pieces are being drafted, the retrospectives are being filed, and there's a cautionary tale in all of them. Cardi, on the other hand, Cardi is about to weaponize this entire era. She's going to get a Grammy nomination out of this. She's going to get a top 10 album cycle out of this. And the DMI, the drama rollout, has already proven she can pull arena numbers for Billboard's tour announcement. She's going to get a new fragrance line. She's going to get a fashion campaign. She's going to get a documentary deal. She's going to get a memoir advance. Every single piece of this disaster is going to become a chapter, a verse, a brand partnership, a magazine cover. Stefon's going to get a Where Are They Now segment on a streaming docuseries in 2031 where a narrator talks about him in the past tense over slow piano music. That's the trajectory. That's the divergence. That's the difference between a woman who knows how to alchemize pain into product and a man who thinks $300,000 in gifts is a personality trait. So whatever happens next, scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, or some combination of all three that nobody saw coming, one thing is already crystal clear, already locked in, already written in cultural stone. Stefon Diggs already lost. He lost the moment Cardi opened her mouth on Spaces. He lost the moment Akbar grabbed a pretty and petty beat. He lost the moment the Super Bowl model photos hit the timeline. He lost the moment he sent a $300,000 gift drop instead of just showing up for Christmas. The receipts are coming. The album cycle is loading. The tour is rolling. And Stefon is sitting on the sidelines of his own story, watching the credits roll in a romance he didn't know was a movie until the screening was already over. Stay locked in, neighbors, because the next chapter, it's going to be even messier than this one, and we'll be right here breaking down every single receipt, every single screenshot, every single quote, line by line, frame by frame. Don't blink, don't look away, because in this saga, the silence is louder than the noise, and the noise is about to get deafening. Do you think Stefon is actually holding a hidden playbook? Or has Cardi officially checked him out of the entire game? Is that $300,000 apology gift a sign of true desperation? Or do you believe this whole public meltdown is just a beautifully orchestrated corporate rollout designed to pump up her next arena tour numbers? Drop your predictions in the comments down below, because I am pinning the absolute wildest, most accurate breakdown, and I want to see who out there is truly paying attention to the fine print. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story behind the headlines, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss a single update when we expose what everyone else on your timeline is too scared to say out loud. Ring that bell for notification so you are always the first to get the drop when the folders inevitably leak. And if you want more absolute truth bombs just like this one, go ahead and click on one of these videos appearing on your screen right now to keep the deep dive going. Stay safe, stay skeptical, and I will see you all in the comment section.